So let me introduce myself. I am Dr. Rajiv Naidu. I am an integrative wellness therapist and a facilitator. I am a new life educator. I support people in having a new way of looking at life, a new way of looking at situations, a new way of looking at relationships, a new way of looking at your health. And all these sciences, be it hypnotherapy, be it past life regression therapy, be it core somatic integration, be it Tai Chi, be it the breathing exercises which I train people in, it completely is seen from a new perspective, and that's why I term myself as a new life coach, a new life educator. This completely transforms the way we look at our experiences, the perspective that we have, and that's what is the key to having a change in our lives. Yeah. So today we are having a very interesting topic, that is past life regression, and I want to know what are your ideas about past life regression. I'm quite sure that each one of you who's there on the line has heard about the past life regression. So what are your ideas about past life regression? Yeah. So please put it down. What are your ideas about past life regression? Yeah. Hi, Gitika. Great. So I want to, this could be, people would be a bit amazed to know that there are two types of past life regression. Yeah. One is the past life of the current life. Yeah, this is how I put it. There are two types of past life. One is the past life of the current life that you are having, and second is the past life of what we actually going to talk about, the past life, yeah, Purva Janam, what we talk about, yeah. So there could be a lot of myths that we are having, but so people are wondering, how does this work? What is actually happening in a past life? What is being done in a past life? And I've heard, since I've been practicing for last almost 15 years, there are people who are carrying a lot of myths about past life, and because the word itself is quite intriguing and people keep wondering, is there a past life? Does it really work, or is it just a made up story, or are we imagining our story, or it is just that it's like a mumbo jumbo? Yes. For some people who don't believe, yes, it could be all of that, and people who believe and people who have gone through it, it's completely a world changer. It completely changes the perspective of the world that we carry inside us. It completely transforms that world. So this is what it is. So now, talking about the past life thing, it is, let's look at this. As I said, it's a past life, that is, there's a current life, and then there is a past life, which is the past life. So now, first let me show you something. Hope you are able to see this. Yeah. So this is a picture of a mind. I just have it on the laptop. I just brought it instead of drawing it. It may not be seen on the FB Live. So I have just brought it. So if you can see, this is the mind, and mind is an energy ball, which I spoke about in the last session of hypnotherapy. The mind is an energy ball, yeah, and which is divided into two parts, which is the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind is again divided into two parts. This is the current, the green one is the current, and then you have the lowest one, which we call as the real unconscious mind, which you are not even aware of what's happening over there. Yeah, and that we call as the primitive mind, in which the past life experiences are stored. Yeah, and in the upper part is the current life experiences, that is from the time you are born, that is the time when you were conceived in your mother's womb. So we know the story of Abhimanyu. Yeah, so Arjun tells the story of how to get into Chakravyuh, yeah, and But before he could actually tell about how to come out of the Chakravyu, his wife goes off to sleep and he's not able to continue the story. Now, 19 years ahead, Abhimanyu, Mahabharata war, Abhimanyu is getting into the war, is in the war, he gets into the Chakravyu where he's surrounded by all the soldiers of the enemy party and he's not able to come out. And the story goes that because everything that the mother heard was received by the child in the womb, but the story which was left halfway, but was not, and the mother didn't hear about how to come out, so Abhimanyu couldn't get it. So he died in that Chakravyu. So that's how the story goes. So that's the impact. So this we call as the current life experiences, but the current past life. Now the other past life that we talk about is the past, the real past life. Yeah. So we are going to talk about that, and we are going to touch upon the current life also a bit. So before that, let me tell you a simple example. What's a past life and how do we understand this? Now, we all clean up our houses, right? So we see dirt, or without seeing dirt, we are cleaning up the house. Now, you clean up the house because you feel or you smell some stench, you smell some stink in the house, there's something smelling. So you clean up the place, but the smell doesn't go. Now you start searching, maybe behind the cupboard, behind the shelf, or in some corners, open the doors which are locked, and then you check what happened. Maybe open the cupboard and see where, and then you find that there's a dead rat which has been dead for some time now. Now you remove that, you throw it away. Now the smell goes off for some time, but then after some time you still get that stinking smell. Now you keep wondering. You cleaned up the house, you threw the dead rat, but still the smell is there. So there is something more than that. And then you find out that there is a drainage pipe just outside your house that is leaking. Or it could be that the sewage tank filled with that muck, there's some problem out there, or there's a stench that is coming from there. So this is how it is. So if at all you're cleaning up your house, so we have different realities. So one is the current reality. Yeah, there's this current reality of what is happening, be it any problem, be it your current life issue, it could be a financial issue, it could be a relationship issue, it could be your health issue, it could be a problems in your business, or addictions, or anything for that matter. Now that is an issue, that's a symptom. Like something that is, the house is dirty, that's a symptom. Or there's a smell coming, that's a symptom. So you cleaned up the house, that is just cleaning up the present situation. And this is what is generally what we are doing in a cognitive counseling or in a regular counseling. Yeah, or even in hypnotherapy, you just give suggestions. So you're just cleaning up the current issues. Yeah, the affirmations that you do, these are all dealing with the current issue. Now, you go deeper and you find out the dead rat. That is like going back in time and finding out something in the corner which you are not able to see otherwise, but you can feel that smell, you can sense that smell, or that. So that is what is the going back in time, but the current past life kind of thing. Because anywhere in your life, right from childhood, the traumatic situations, or sometime back in time when you had a conflict with a partner, or you had a property issue, or you had a business failure, or you had a health failure for whatever reason, or some emotion that got stuck up and you have not been able to deal with it. That is like the dead rat, and that could be happening from any time, right from the time you are born, or even being conceived, where the mother has gone through a trauma, and that could be the issue that is being expressed as the form of a symptom. So that could be what we can call as the current past life. Now, the drainage pipe which is outside your house, or the smell, the stench coming from the sewage tank, and the smell is traveling and it is coming through the drain pipe of your washroom, and then it spreads throughout the house. Now if you have to clean up, then you have to go back and repair the drainage pipe, or you have to clean up the muck in the sewage tank which has not been cleaned up in many years. Now that is what I would call as a past life issue, because this is just beyond your understanding, beyond your recognition, not something that you would think of in the first place. But it is still impacting the current reality, the current situation. It is giving you the stench. Now the symptom that you have, it's not necessary that it is always coming from the current issues. It could show up because of some trigger in the current issue, like a fight with the boss, or you losing your job, or a business failure, or a breakdown in your relationship, or divorce, and the whole thing can show up as a breakdown in your life. Now many a times we are just trying to resolve that. Many a times we are trying to resolve that. We jump from one job to another, or we take more loan and invest in the business, but still the same pattern continues. Or the best, you have tried the best thing possible, but still you keep attracting the same kind of painful relationship, traumatic relationships again and again. So where is it coming from? And you have tried everything that's there in the book, but somehow things are not turning in your favor. Now you will try to look at what's happening, and that's where the past life regression therapy comes into play. It is something beyond, like as I said, the primitive mind, which is the unconscious mind. When I say unconscious, that means it's not just that, okay, I know about it. That's still in your space, in the realm where you know something, that something happened in my childhood. I was beaten up, or I was kicked out of the house, or someone did something to me. I still have some idea, but this is something which I don't even know. It's like the sewage tank that is away from my place, but from there the stench is coming, and it's percolating, and it's spreading in my house. How would I know? So that's exactly, the patterns are there, the pains are there, the traumatic experiences are there, but I don't know where it is coming from. It's a don't know situations. I don't even know that what is impacting me. But the pain, the trauma, the struggle exists in my current reality. It is showing up in my life. Now, if it is not dealt with, it will strongly speak to you, like I tell in every session, that a symptom is only trying to help you clean up your space. Like the stench that's coming in your house, the stink that is there, the smell that is there, that is only trying to say that there's something wrong somewhere. But if you just try to cover it up, the moment that the perfume that you use to cover it up, the fragrance goes off, immediately the stench is back again. And it could be worse than that. The same way it comes up. So that's why you end up having the similar kind of relationship, or the same relationship you have breakdowns. And that's where you tend to understand where you tend to go for a past life and figure out what is this. Where is it coming from? So if it is not coming from here, then you have to go way beyond into the deep unconscious mind, so that you can start working at the source of the issue. At the source of the issue. It is like you're not just cutting the branches, you're not cutting the leaves, you're not only cutting the branches, you're not just cutting the stems, the trunk, you're not even cutting the stem, you are just going down to the roots, and if possible, if there's a seed out there, you are removing the seed also. That's why past life regression can be very, very effective. It has been seen by so many of us across the world that when you are working with the past life and you hit the target properly, in many other sessions, you may take psychotherapy, all that. If it is taking many sessions, a hypnotherapy might just do it in 5 to 6 sessions. And sometimes, if it is rightly hit, and if it's a past life issue, sometimes 1-2 sessions can just resolve it. That's the power of a past life. Because it removes the whole thing from the source. It's like cleaning up the sewage tank completely. And that's the impact of a past life. Now, you will definitely agree that we are all products of our belief systems. We are products of our thoughts, of our belief systems, the belief patterns that we carry. And these belief patterns have formed right in childhood. But there are certain belief systems we don't even know where it came from, because we don't have any proof of it that has been there in our current life. Like, mother has loved you a lot, father has loved you a lot, grandparents have loved, the environment is loving, but still the person feels unloved and keeps getting into situations or behaves as if it's unloved. Or they had great businesses, everything is going on well, but this person, when he starts doing business, he only keeps getting failures. The jahan pe haath dalega, whatever he does, it ends up on the wrong note. Or keeps attracting a bad relationship, though he's seeing that his parents had a brilliant relationship. But this person is attracting a bad relationship. Somehow ends up in a bad relationship. So there is no proof in the current life that this is happening. Or it could also be that in the current life also there is everything bad, but it could be a past life that why would you get into a family like this or in a situation like this? Why do you end up being a criminal or end up in prison? So this is how it is. So now there could be many people, like we're talking about the myths, there could be many people who don't believe in a past life. They say past life doesn't exist. Yes, there are religions where they say past life doesn't exist because my religion says so. I too tell them, yes, I will also not agree to that. That I also agree that past life doesn't exist. Yes. But let's try to understand logically. Yeah, like I talked about the sewage tank. It comes from somewhere. Now, if you just take past life as a name, like my name is Rajiv, someone else's name is something else, and that person's name is something else, or we call this a chair, that is called a table, that's called a light. So we have names for everything, and we have names for techniques also. Like we have names like emotional freedom technique. We have my own workshop is called core somatic integration. Or you have a martial art that is called taekwondo. There's martial arts called tai chi or wrestling. So there are names given. So I say something which is beyond this life, which is deep in unconscious, which we are not aware of. When we go for that and we are using a particular modality or a therapeutic modality for that, it's given a name called past life regression therapy. It doesn't matter whether you believe it or you don't believe in a past life, it doesn't matter. It's a name given for a technique. Even if you can think like that, that's good enough. It is not necessary that you got to believe in a past life in order to access a past life. That's another myth, that I got to believe in a past life in order to access a past life. No, you don't need to. It is like you jumped in water, and now if you go 6 feet deep, you are deep. If you go 10 feet deep, still you are deep. And if you go 20 feet, you are still deep. So same thing, if you are getting into subconscious, you are getting into subconscious little, you are in the subconscious, you go much more, you are much deeper, but you are still in the subconscious. So you are getting into the unconscious, which is again, so you are the part of the subconscious. This is again the subconscious, and we are accessing the subconscious. We are accessing those belief systems which you're not even aware of. You're not even having any knowledge of why and how it is impacting my life, but I can see the impact. So we are using a technique now for people who don't believe in it, using a technique called a past life regression therapy. Do past life exist? or they don't exist. That's another myth. I tell people it doesn't matter. If you like pudding, or you go to a hotel, you enjoy what you have ordered, have a great time. You don't get into the kitchen and ask them, okay, what did you put, and did you put it right? No, you don't need to. You ordered for it, you like the food, great. So look for the impact, look for the change, look for the transformation. That is what is important. Your business has to work. Most important, your relationships have to work. Your health has to work. Your life has to work. It has to be in peace, harmony, joy, happiness, the way you want it. That's more important than getting into a debate whether it's existing or not existing. I tell my clients that it's important that you get okay, you get healed, your diseases vanish. That's more important than getting into inconsequential debate. It's very important that you get the positive effect of the work. Doesn't matter what name you call it by. How does it matter? Yeah. So it doesn't matter whatever name you call it by. Yeah. So it's important that we go just get into a therapy without even wondering what or thinking about whether it's working or not working. Yeah, there are people who talk about, oh, is past life regression, is it my imagination? Am I making it up? Is it that I'm thinking and that's why all those things are happening? By the way, the truth is, everything that is happening in your life is an imagination, by the way. You are imagining it, you are perceiving it, that's why we call it perspective. It's your perspective, and as per that you are acting out. You are perceiving in your head, you are having those labels, you are the ones who's having that judgment, and according to you, you have behaviors. But that's all imagination, because if it were not imagination, like a pen will remain a pen, you ask anyone, they will call it a pen only. No one will call it a chair. But what's happening in our heads is different for all people. And each one is responding to the world, to the situation, as per the way they perceive, as per the imagination. So everything is the way you imagine it, and that's how you have behaviors, and that's why different people in the same situation have different ways of looking at it, and that's why they get different results. The same business, the same share market, some people do it very well and some people don't do it. Is the problem with the share market? No. It's the way I imagine. Some people don't put money into it. Some people just throw in a lot of money, and some people are so sure and they make the money, and some people are just losing on it. So what's the reality? The reality is the way you perceive it. And that's what makes all the difference. And that's what is the past life story is all about. Whether it's an imagination or truth, it's the way you look at it. But again, what I'm trying to tell you, what is important is looking at the transformation, looking at the change. So I'll just share this story with you. Like, there was a very simple story. There was this doctor who came to me. She was 25 years of age, and she came to me and she said that I am suffering from this severe anxiety, severe fear of stepping into water. And I have never got into anything in a deep water. I have never gone to a swimming pool and never gone close to the beach and got into the ocean. No, I don't ever go into or a deep river. No, I have never gone in. I'm scared. Now get that. Look at these examples with an open mind, with a receptive mind. Yeah, just be open about what you're receiving. Yeah, because I'm going to tell you the cases which got healed, which got cleared up completely. Now this person, as we go about understanding the case, so even in a past life regression therapy, we have a typical case taking like any therapist or a doctor does. We understand what's happening in the person's mind. It is not just that the person comes in and says, oh, I want to heal this, okay, lie down and we'll do the work. No, it's not like that. A good case taking is done. We understand what is the sensitivity of the client, where is the client coming from, what could be stored in there, and where do we have to touch upon. Is it a past life issue? Is it just hypnotherapy, plain hypnotherapy, or do we have to work on the current reality, or it's just the person requires some counseling or some suggestion? What is it? So we understand the case properly and then take it from there. So this person, after she said this, I say, okay, understanding the case, put her into a trance and then took her back in time. And as we went about, she stepped into a past life. Why do I call it a past life? Because when we went back, she sees herself as a princess. Now in this life, she's not a princess. She's a doctor. So nowhere she's a princess. But she sees herself as a princess. And she sees that she's walking down the bank of a river. And then she slips somehow. And then she slides down. And then she goes deep into the river. And she dies over there. Now, it's not necessary that you can have only one past life. Till the time you don't resolve or release that pain, the same issue will continue in your life or as we go about. Yeah, the way till the time we don't resolve the anger in us or the fear in us in the current situation, we tend to get angry on every other person who comes in our life. Earlier it could be a brother, sister, then you get into a relationship, you have a problem with the same with that person, then you grow older and then you have children, you have problems. But your anger continues with different people in different parts in time. Same way, when you don't resolve an issue, if you're talking about past life, then the same thing continues in another life and then another life. And similar, when you're doing good life, better life till the time you have completion. Yeah, that's can be talked about later in some other session, but this is how it goes. So now if that person again sees another life where she is in the river and she's bathing, again a princess, and someone gets in and holds her legs over there and pulls her down in the river and she dies. So in quite a few of the instances it was seen that she was dying in the river or in the water. And then there is a healing done, by the way. It is not just observing that I died in water and that's why I have fear of. No, there is a complete healing done. And that is what is called as past life regression therapy. Past life regression therapy. There is therapy work done. There is healing work done where the fears and everything is cleared up. And when she comes back, she comes to me after a few days and she says, Rajiv, I've just not been getting any fear of water. It just seemed to have vanished. I am not at all scared. Now one more thing, when you remove a fear or when you work on a past life, it's not only that fear goes away or that issue resolves. All the other areas of your life in the current life that is associated with the fear, that also resolves. That's why you work on one area and you will see many areas gets peaceful or becomes harmonious. So that's the effect of this. In fact, that's the effect of any holistic therapy. Talk about hypnotherapy, talk about core-somatic integration. You just work on one area and your many other areas get resolved. And now, there was this other person. This is like quite an interesting case. I'm talking about, one I talked about fear. Now I'll be talking about where the person had a severe backache. But this backache was in one single point. And somehow, after doing so much of investigation and going to the best doctors in town, the person was not able to gather what was happening. The doctors were not able to gather what was happening and why this pain. And it's been years, and this person has been popping all the painkillers and different types of exercise, but it's just somehow didn't seem to vanish. Now, the person comes to the therapist and then over there, put that person into trance, and he sees, as they're taken back into in trance, back in time. The person is landing into a time where there's a war going on and the person is a soldier. Now the person is not a soldier. He's working for a MNC and at a very high post. The person is not a soldier. But when the person is in there, the person experiences it as real because it's an experience. And the person is fighting, and then he sees that someone shoots a bullet and it pierces the back. And after that the person dies. Now, having seen this, I go into clearing up the whole space and release that impact of the bullet. Now that's the healing part. Yeah, how it is done, what is done, that's a different, there's a method to it. So, and it's all a clear-cut technique. In fact, it doesn't matter whether I do it or someone else does it. If you understand it properly and you take it properly, any person can learn this. Yeah, definitely you should have interest, and if you have a background knowledge, anyone can do this. So that's why people learn it, especially people who are very much interested. They definitely learn it and they make a huge difference in lives of people. After having removed that bullet again in the mind, it is removed and the healing is done, the clearing is done. The person comes back after a few days saying that my pain has completely vanished. There is no trace of any pain. And the pain never ever recurred. I've had my friends, my colleagues who have worked on people who are having some kind of paralysis, like a kind of a weakness of the legs and could not walk. But after 7 to 8 sessions, those people having worked on their past lives were able to walk. So this is the kind of impact. So past lives can be very, very effective. Can be very, very effective in the sense that you might just wonder that how it functions, how it works. So now, looking at this, okay, there have been people who have been asking me, Rajiv, how does this, on what all issues can it affect? In fact, it affects any and every area like any other holistic therapy. Like you go to a doctor and you work on any issue that way. You talk about psychological issues, we have worked on psychological issues. You talk about emotional issues, you talk about relationship issues, you talk about physical disorders, right from cold to cancers, paralysis, yes, and rheumatoid arthritis. You talk about migraines. Why is it all the incurable diseases, psoriasis? Why is it that many of the doctors are not able to treat diseases? Because they are not going to the source of the problem. They are not going to the source of the problem. Till the time the seed is not removed, like the dead rat is not thrown or the sewage tank is not cleared, you will keep getting the symptom. That's why the person suffers from the same disease for a lifetime. Many of them die with the same disease or maybe a complication of the disease because the source is not dealt with. Once you deal with the source, then you don't have to worry. Because rest of it is taken care of. Like the sewage tank is cleared up, then you don't have to, the stench is not there. It's as simple as that. It's very logical. It's very logical how it functions. Right? Then you talk about psychological issues, you talk about relationship issues. Many of the people come together and they keep fighting. I've seen people that even after 30 years of being together, of in a marriage or a relationship, they keep fighting for the same issue. There are so many of them who have so horrible relationship with their partners or horrible relationship with their parents or their children. There are so many of them who have done very, very well in their life, business-wise and money-wise, but when they grow old, they're just left like a pauper, thrown out by their families, or just put into a room and not even cared for. And when we actually get into understanding, then there is a story behind it, which connects to a past life. And in a past life, what is also very important is the wisdom. Every past life, every disease is only wanting you to get the wisdom behind the disease. It's like going to the sewage tank and clearing it up. But when you clear it up, you also need to know what else we can do in order to. There's a learning behind it. That you got to keep the environment clean. Or you don't put stuff into it that it gets clogged. So some wisdom is there. And the wisdom in case of past lives or the current past life regression is generally a very positive thing, a learning that you need to get. Many a times the learning is about surrender, forgiveness, letting go, of learning to love people, of standing up for oneself, taking charge of life. And there could be many more, and it's all individual. So the wisdom is so important. And once you get the wisdom, it completely changes the neuro pathway, let me tell you. Because we are all controlled by our belief systems. We are all controlled by our belief systems. Our neuro pathway runs as per our belief systems, our perspective. And that's why it's like making a decision. The moment you make a decision, life changes. The moment the lady becomes pregnant, her life changes. Similarly, the decision works. Similarly, the wisdom works. Till the time you don't get the wisdom, the learning, you struggle with the same issue. It's like you take the money, you put it in the business because you haven't got the learning. But someday you attend a workshop or you meet a friend and the person says, okay, I think you're doing this, and the person is receptive enough to listen and says, yeah, I got my mistake, what I need to do. And suddenly the person starts doing something new, gets into a new discipline, starts putting things, getting organized, something that the person wasn't doing. The person starts doing, and over a period of time, the person says that my business has changed completely. That's how transformation occurs. Here, it is more unconscious. Instead of doing it, here you get into the system and change from the seed level itself. So a new tree grows. So that's exactly how it works. You are changing something, and a complete new neuronal experience is there. And that experience makes you take new actions, perceive things from a new perspective, a new way of looking at things, a new point of view. Now, since you have a new point of view, we all know the model of the thought, emotion, energy, and the body and the behavior model. So the thought has changed, your emotions change, the energy changes, and new behaviors form in. And that's very unconscious, very automatic. Many times you are surprised, why am I doing this? But that's because the perspective has shifted. The pain, the trauma coming from that life, which was percolating into this life, which was permeating into this life, that has got blocked, that has got removed, that doesn't exist. Earlier, it was a tree of datura or a thorny plant, which if you stepped on, it hurt. Now you have a mango tree, or you have a fruit-bearing tree, a fragrance-smelling flower tree. So you will not have the same old issues now, because everything, the seed has changed. Now the tree has changed, the fruits are changing. And then you see changes in your relationship, you changes in your business, the same way you relate to things, the way you approach things, everything starts moving, everything starts changing. And thus, if it's a disease, which is again a product of the problem, remember the disease is not the problem. We are all trying to treat the disease. Now the disease is not the issue. As homeopathy says, it's not the disease but the individual. It is not the disease but the individual. It's the individual who's diseased. The disease is just a product. But we have to change it at the thought level. So the individual who's carrying the thought, the emotions and the experience which produces the disease. So you are working on the individual. So when we are working on a past life, when we are working on the unconscious, we are working on the individual, on the person, which is a very unconscious dynamics. Once you work, what is seen will automatically heal. It's very simple. You take a mango seed and you put it in the ground and you give whatever resources are required for it to grow. It will grow and it will bear fruits that are mangoes. You will never get an orange on that. You will never get an orange on that. Same way, you have changed the thinking from a diseased thinking, a negative thinking like fear, anger, insecurity, sadness, depression. You are going to get symptoms like that. But the moment you change it, remove all that, clear it up, and you put in a new one, coming from the new wisdom, suddenly there's a shift happening in the neural pathway, in the neuronal experience. The way the body behaves, the mind behaves, completely shifts. And that brings about a complete change in the person. Now, even if you don't want it, you are doing new actions. And new actions will produce new results. Earlier it was giving disease, now it's giving health. Earlier it was giving problems in relationship, conflicts, now it's giving harmony in the relationship. Earlier you could not think, you were stuck, and you were making the same mistakes where your business was going down. Now you're able to hold back, you create a new discipline, you relate differently to your customers, you relate differently to your business, you take ownership of your business, and your business starts blooming. And that's the base of treating any disease. Not just treating the symptom. The symptom is trying to help you to know that there's something that is going on deeper in the unconscious. So I'll just say that earlier, when a messenger came to the king's court from the other kingdom, the messenger was never killed. It was a rule, you are not supposed to hurt the messenger. Even today, when diplomats come, ambassadors come, you are not supposed to hurt them. Because they are carrying a message. Right? Then if at all you do it, then the countries can go even to war. You are not supposed to do that. Same way, a symptom is a messenger. It's an ambassador. It's only trying to tell you that there's something going wrong in deeper, and it's only trying to be a friend. Saying that there's a stench coming from somewhere. You don't just keep putting some perfume out there or try to kill that stench or kill the messenger. You'll never get the message. But now, if you kill the messenger, the whole body goes into a war. That's why when you take medicines over a period of time which is suppressing those symptoms, those emotions, those thoughts, suddenly there are complications. Now, the medical science generally doesn't connect. They're saying, okay, that's a complication, but they will not, because the attention is not on that we are suppressing emotions, because the science looks at the body. There's nothing wrong. That's the way they operate. That's the way they go about. And it's a very effective science in itself. But the thing is, what is important, what you're made up of is thoughts, feelings, emotions, energies, and then behaviors and the body. The body is an expression or an instrument through which this energy, the prana, the consciousness is flowing. It is expressed on the body. Now if you suppress what is being expressed on the body, you cut it off, you remove it. Now the body says, you killed the messenger, now you're not seeming to get it, the message I'm giving you. So now I'll give you a bigger problem. And that's why I believe it takes a long time to develop a disease. It doesn't happen like this. It gets triggered out by a trauma. That's a traumatic experience in the here and now. But it takes a long time for any disease to develop, be it diabetes, be it high blood pressure, be it a cancer. But you have a particular attitude. Not every person develops a cancer. Not every person develops diabetes. It doesn't matter even if your parents have been having those complaints. But not everyone gets it. It's got to do with your immunity. It's got to do with your thinking. You develop it automatically. Yes, all those things about heredity and taking it from the parent, inherited, that's all very important to understand to diagnose a disease. But the healing has to be seen from a different perspective, from a holistic point of view. When you start seeing it from the holistic point of view, you're making a difference all over. You can't just cut off that part and say, okay, the body is okay. Sometimes, yes, it does resolve everything. But most of the times, it just keeps getting worse. It just keeps getting worse. So it's very, very important that you go deeper and start working on this issue and start resolving it. And once it is resolved, you will see a lot of changes happening in all areas of life. Yeah, so now let me also tell, we also talked about, so also behavioral disorders. A lot of behavioral disorders, a lot of addictions can be resolved through this. Drug addictions, alcohol addictions. Yes, they can have a bearing in the current life. It could be because of current life issues also, but many a times the addictions are also coming from, can be resolved through working or using the past life regression therapy. It is a very, very effective therapy. I've seen people just saying that, okay, I don't want to have it anymore. I've seen people giving up smoking completely. Now remember, we are not just working with past life, we are also doing current life issues. We are doing inner child work. And then we get into a past life. Yeah? There are times when a person just gets into a past life and starts resolving it. Yeah, that can also happen. But many a times we have a protocol to follow. And that also protocol is also to understand the client very well. And also the client gets very comfortable with what's happening in the therapy. Right? Many of the people have got resolved of their insomnia, asthma. So there are many diseases, cancers. There are many diseases that we can talk about that can be helped. People who are feeling very stuck, very helpless, very hopeless, very depressed, they have been resolved. Now let me also talk about one case which I had. So this, I can talk about myself. Yeah. So I was having this pain in my abdomen over here, right in the solar plexus, and this was for years. And I would want to eat a lot as if to avoid the pain. And let me tell you, there was nothing found. Yeah, I never done an investigation, but there was nothing found. But I would always get this pain at a particular time, and it would just come up, and then it would go. And I would wonder and feel very hungry at that time. And I still remember I was doing, I was just learning this therapy, this art, and I met up my colleague and my teacher, and she was working with me, and in that process, I saw that I was born in one of these places where there was complete famine. And there was nothing to eat. I was starving. And I died because of that starvation. And the moment I saw that, and it was just a passing thing, I still remember it was just maybe a few seconds or maybe a few minutes that I saw this completely and I experienced it, and boom, it was gone. I get up, and from that day, I never ever had this pain again. And that is the time I started believing in this. That how did that happen? I was not even working on it, let me tell you. It could have been some gastritis pain. But it went on for a long time. And suddenly, with one session, it just vanished. And there are so many people who have come with severe headaches and all these ailments which they've been struggling with for long periods. And it just seemed to have vanished. Let me tell you, there's no magic in this therapy. People say, oh, as if there's some magic. No, if you actually sit down and understand, it's very scientific in its understanding. You've got to understand the thought, emotion, energy, body behavior model, how it functions, why diseases happen, the source of it. Once you start understanding that, and then you will understand that how scientific it is, how it can be duplicated by anyone. And it doesn't matter who speaks that it doesn't work. No. Person has to experience. I've had even allopathic doctors coming with cases like migraine, they themselves having migraines, having severe acidity. I have one doctor who came in with 25 years of acidity. I think never ever it has got okay. And we did few sessions, maybe six or 7 sessions, and the person never ever had it for last 4-5 years, never had it. The case of migraine, it's almost like 7-8 years or 10 years, has never had a migraine attack. And cases of severe anger, severe fear, phobias. Why phobias can't be cured? As generally we say that the bearing is in the past life. The death has happened in that. Panic attacks, severe panic attacks. So these are the kind of cases we can cure. I still remember this case of this person who came with this lady who came to me at the age of 40, and she was suffering from polycystic ovarian disease. Severe pain at least 10 to 12 days before her menses, and even few. And the husband said that she's so scary during that period because she perceived that I and my daughter, her daughter was 10 years of age, I and my daughter don't even get close to her because she can get really aggressive. She just spends her 3 days on the bed. She cannot even get, because it's so painful during those times. And she gets very, very, very aggressive. And also, she used to take at least 5 to 6 tablets of crocin every day for those 3 days. So almost 18 tablets for those 3 days. She used to say it's so painful, I would only take paracetamol, nothing else. I would not touch anything else. But it should be very crazy. Now going back in time, we go back and see that this started immediately after she delivered the child. And after taking the history, I'm not getting into the history. I have completely for reasons like I don't want to share this case completely. But at the same time, there was a fight that she was very angry with her husband during that period when she got pregnant. And and when we worked on it, and immediately after delivery, and when we worked on it, we saw in the past life that what actually happened, and she was having in that past life, there were issues with her pregnancy, and in the pregnancy, the child is killed, like aborted by someone by force, where she's just going into it. She sees herself as the second or the third wife of the king, and the earlier queen is very angry. The earlier wife is very angry that she got pregnant. The new wife has got pregnant, but the queen couldn't get pregnant, and the new wife is the client, and she gets the lady to abort, by killing the fetus in the womb. like earlier, whatever measures they used to use. So the crude measures. So this, and then this made a lot of sense to her. And also, let me tell you, she never ever remembered any of her past life. That doesn't happen. People are very aware. And post doing 3 or 4 sessions of her, she said that I've never been so peaceful. And after 6 months, when she came back again, I asked her, how is she feeling? She's saying, my pain, my period pain has gone down completely. I don't have it. In last 6 months, I have taken only 1 tablet of Crocin, which was 18 tablets during one period, one cycle. So this is how it is for her. And her relationship with the husband improved, with the child improved, her anger went down drastically. She was much more understanding. She said, I can go to my work even during my menses. So that is the kind of change that happened in her. So this is how things change when we are talking about a past life regression. Now as I said, the past life regression, what it does is that it brings about a newer understanding. Now, also I mentioned as I said that the past life is all about resolving what's stuck up there. Now it's like the clog. It's like a clog in that pipe of the drainage pipe. Now if there's a clog, there's a block. The water will not flow. And even if it is flowing and this clog is a dirty clog, then it will percolate and it will the water that comes will smell. Now when you remove the clog, clean water can flow with ease. And same thing happens when you're doing a past life regression therapy or a current past life regression therapy, any kind of therapy under hypnotherapy or past life regression. This is what it actually does. It just removes that block. Now when the block is removed, the flow is easy, because behind that there are a lot of positive thoughts. There's the wisdom that is there, that is coming from connection to your higher source, which is always there, which is of love, with compassion, with forgiveness, with surrender, with joy, with happiness, with peace. It's all there, it's all ready to flow. But when it is flowing, this clog, it either percolates to this. So you have only the negative, it's like a filter. And if it's a negative clog, then all that expression that is negative. Now when you remove that clog, the flow is coming from the source of all this positivity. And that's how the change happens in the person and also in the environment. And that expresses in the relationship, that expresses in the business, that expresses in the finance, that expresses in personal health. So I'm just remembering the quote by Albert Einstein. He said that to resolve a problem, you cannot resolve a problem at the level it is created. You have to always rise higher than the problem. So if you have a business issue, you have a relation, and you struggle at that, no, we'll do something, we'll do a change. I'll talk to you nicely, or I will make a change in my way I do my business. I'll put in more money. That's not the issue. The issue is the way. Hello, yeah. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, because there's some issue with the internet, I think. Please give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. So this is how it goes. We are working at a higher level. You just go to the higher level, go to the level of wisdom, and then work. And that percolates. So that's what it is. So this is all about past life that I want to share with you all. Yeah, and if there are questions, you can always share, or you can ask me on the page, or my email ID dr Naidu Rajiv Naidu DRNAIDU RAJIV @gmail.com. Yeah, or you can message me on the page, and if there are any questions, please ask me. Yeah. Currently, let me also look if there are any questions coming up. If there are any questions, we can spend 5 minutes looking at the questions. I'm taking this close. There cannot be any danger, yeah, there cannot be any danger in this because we are accessing your subconscious mind. Yeah, we are only facilitating the process. We are not putting in any suggestions. You go in, any which way you are imagining things, any which way you are responding to life from the way you perceive things, the way your belief systems are. We are just going in there and you are becoming aware of your belief system. So it can only be a healthy effect. There can be only a positive effect. It is like cleaning up your own house. Yes, I facilitate the process. I don't put in any suggestions. That's why the wisdom is also yours. Thanks. Okay, friends, if there's anything, you can always call me up. You can message me. Yeah. And my number is 9820800120. You can always call me up, 9820800120. Give me a call and then also, or message me. That's the best thing to do. And I'll respond. Yeah, then you can figure out a call also. Yeah. So, have a great life. Be at home. Be safe. Take care of your family and love you all. And we'll come soon with another session like this, and also message me if you need any particular topic to be talked upon. Yeah, and also you can and on the Sunday we'll be having a session on Tai Chi again. Yeah, I'll tell you the timing. Maybe it could be in the afternoon because